We are in the 21st century, the era of technologies. We are using new technologies every day. Did you know that 4.5 billion people in the world connect to the internet on a daily basis? And from those, 3.8 billion have one or more social networks. But what are really the risks connected to using social networks? Well, one of the things we should be aware of is that whenever we are using that social network, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we are giving to these companies a so huge amount of our personal information. But what is exactly personal information? Personal data or personal information is anything, any piece of information that makes us identifiable or that directly identifies us. So here we would be referring, for example, to our name or surname or our address, telephone number. But not only that, every time we're posting a picture in which you could see the location data is also considered personal information. Or when we're posting that picture next to our car where you can see the number plate, this is also personal information. So one of the first and main things that we should do before we are signing up into a new social network is to check their privacy policies. Because over there, we will see how that company uses that personal information. Sometimes, more often than we thought, these companies use, for example, information about the likes that we're giving, or whenever we're clicking in the advertisements that are appearing in that social network. And all this information is creating profiles that allow this company to know so much about our personalities, behaviors, and interests. This is pretty scary, especially because according to those profiles, they could show us particular information and that could influence us or even manipulate us. So, one of the biggest achievements that the European Union has implemented recently is the so-called General Data Protection Regulation. This is a regulation that we have in place since 2018 and that reinforces the protection of our personal data. This GDPR, as we call it, is very, very relevant to prevent abuses from big tech companies and social network companies to use data for purposes others than those that we actually as users know. For example, according to the GDPR, we have several rights as users and as data subjects, which are, for example, the right to access, the right to modify, the right to delete, the right to oppose to those data, to the processing of those data. So we could go to that company and ask this company to provide all the information that they have from us, to modify it, or even to delete it. Have you ever heard of the so-called right to be forgotten? The right to be forgotten, as the name indicates, allows us to be forgotten from the internet. So whenever we consider that photo or that piece of information is no longer relevant and no longer accurate, we could ask this to be removed from the internet. This is one of many of the rights that we are entitled as users in the GDPR. So anyone should actually know of these laws that protect us, and that way we could be more aware of what we're sharing and how we can get back control of our personal data.